Hey guys, it is Miss Yensid88 here, and I am posting a very requested, very personal video. If I get a little rambly, I'm sorry. I also want to PSA this video that I'll be talking about things that might be sensitive to some people, drug abuse, jail, other things. So if any of that is something that is sensitive to you, please go ahead and turn away from this video. But this is my adoption story. It was very requested, so here we go. In order to tell the story, I have to tell a little bit about my pre-adoption, or what my life was like before I was adopted, just to get some context into things. So I was born the third child to my birth mom, and by the time I was born, her first child, which was a boy, had passed away when he was a toddler. I have heard the stories about what happened to him. I don't know what is exactly true. I just know that he fell on a vacuum and passed away. And she had him very young. Then she had my next sister, who's 12 years-ish older than me. And then she had my middle sister, who is 6 years older than me. And then she had me. And then many years later, she had another son who is younger than me. Out of my entire family, I am the only one who did get adopted. And I have kind of a unique story and reason why I was adopted and no one else was. So, my parents were not married and were kind of dating as far as I know. From the stories I was told, when my birth mom got pregnant with me, my birth father told her that she should have an abortion. And from what she has told me, she did go through with the abortion, but what happened was that she, and this is from her mouth, that she was pregnant with twins and lost my twin. Now, how true is this story? I don't know. There's a lot of things about my own story that are, I don't know. So I also want to say, if anybody in the family is watching this, I'm not doing this to offend anybody. And if any of these facts are wrong, I'm sorry. This is just what I've been told and what I know. So moving on. So when I was very young, she was writing bad checks and got caught and put into jail. My other two sisters I believe they went up to live with their father, who was different than my dad, their father's mother. So they went to live with her, and I went to live with my maternal grandmother. And she took care of me for a while, but she worked night shifts. She worked at a bar, so she couldn't always take care of me, and it was very difficult for her. So I got passed around a whole lot to different family members. At one point in time, I even lived in Texas with a family member. And then as time progressed, my grandmother convinced my birth mother to put me up for adoption while my birth mother was still in jail. And she agreed. The family member that had me in Texas, who had me the longest, decided that they wanted to adopt me, and then decided that they were not going to because my birth mother would have too close of contact with the family and might be able to still manipulate my life too much. So then my parents, so birth parents are two different entities in this story. So my parents were having trouble conceiving. They had just kind of entered into maybe we should adopt thoughts. And one of my mom is a teacher, and one of her friends said, hey, I know this lady who has a granddaughter who they're looking to get her up for adoption. So my parents met me and fell in love with me and visited me for a while. And then I don't know how long later, but on New Year's Eve, my grandmother called them to ask if they could watch me. And they said yes, and apparently I never went back. And then they went ahead with the adoption. The adoption process was kind of difficult because my birth father was refusing to sign the paperwork. And as far as I know, he wasn't refusing to sign it out of any affection for me, but rather to get back at my birth mother for some reason. And I had what they call an open adoption, which means that my family members can reach out and talk to me. And it was one of the conditions my maternal grandmother had because she was very attached to me. And I'll say that part was really great because she came to like all my school plays and my graduation and, everything that she could be involved in, she was. And it was really great to have an extra grandparent who was that devoted. The hard part about that was meant that my birth mother also still had contact. So she would write me birthday letters occasionally, and she's very manipulative and very bipolar-esque in her emotions, so it was hard to know her. And so I became kind of like a dual person because I had this birth family and I had my family who were both always kind of a part of my life, and it made it a little hard for me to fit in either place. So for that reason, the open adoption was a little difficult. But I did get to meet my birth sisters and hang out with them a few times when I was young, so that part was nice. It's just a little, a little different. So that is a very brief description of it, and I'm not going to add a whole lot of details because I don't know them as clearly as I could. I do know, she was in a bad place, so I was adopted out, and I had a really great life because of it. And my sisters did not get that opportunity, and I feel wretched about that some days. So anyway, that is a very brief my adoption story. If you have questions or would like to know any more, I can do my best. So please leave your comments down below. And as always, I hope you all have a magical day. Bye.